So, the end game that we're looking for is motivation. So we're going to start with the end game and then work our way towards it. But the goal is motivation. And that's just a phrase. It's a word. I didn't make up a word, but I picked that word to describe what I was looking for in the end game. So let me define for you how I define motivation. Like, what does it look like? What does it smell like? What does it taste like? So one of the things that motivation looks like to me is enthusiasm. Enthuse, the Greek word God within, and then I am sold myself, IASM, enthusiasm. You with me on that? Enthusiasm. So when people are motivated, don't they look enthusiastic? Yes. When you're enthusiastic about a particular project or a goal or a process, do you engage in it? Yeah, you do. I mean, the two go hand in hand. So enthusiasm is one of the things we're looking for. Persistence is one of the things we're looking for. Persistence is just clearly defined as if you get knocked down, like Bozo the Clown, you don't stay down for 2 or 3 days or a week or a month or a year. You got to be like Bozo the Clown. You knock Bozo the Clown down, what does he do? Right back up. Bozo the Clown down, right back up. So somebody says no, right back in. Not somebody says no, and you're like, oh, this isn't going to work. Nobody wants to do this. You get on the couch. And, like a month later, you think, well, maybe I'll try again, and you call your group, and they're all gone. They went and joined some other deal, and courage. Courage. Courage is simply defined as this. So you see something that there is to do in your path, and your mind says to you, if you do this, you could really get pounded. So maybe you see a prospect or, on a list, or you see somebody out in the hallway, or when you think to yourself, oh, a prospect, I should say something to them. But what comes with that is, oh, if I do this, I could get pounded. They could say no, they could criticize me, they could ridicule me, they could make me feel bad about myself. So courage, people who are courageous, they have those same fearful conversations, they just do it anyway. Sometimes we think people with courage aren't afraid. Well, if they weren't afraid, they wouldn't need any courage. They're just ignorant. Right? That's okay too. But you and I are not so ignorant. We do identify lots of things that are scary in our business, don't we? Like, my throat's bothering me, and I need you to come up and finish this presentation. You got 1 hour and 6 minutes. Some of you are up to it. Some of you, if you imagine getting up in the front of the room, what happens to your body? You freak out, right? But if you're going to be a pro in our business, with very few exceptions, if you're going to be a pro in our business, you're going to have to do what? You're going to have to get up front. Even if it's 4, 5, 6 people, you're going to have to get up front. But the number one place where the rubber hits the road in our business is prospecting. Prospecting that's the holy grail. If you can master prospecting, the rest is really pretty easy. The rest will just fall in your lap. The rest is really kind of like dominoes if you can get prospecting going. And why don't we prospect? Because we're afraid, simply. We're afraid. It's not because we don't know how. Think of who prospected you. What did they say? Did they follow the company script when they prospected you? They did? How many of you were prospected the way you were taught to prospect other people? 4, 6, 8. How'd the rest of you get here? A lousy, dysfunctional presentation. Motivations, creativity. So creativity shows up in 2 forms. One is problem solving. That'll be just sort of self-evident. The other form of creativity is simply what we call creative interpretations. It's kind of like seeing a prospect, being afraid, but prospecting anyway. But it's actually more like seeing a prospect and not being so afraid. It's kind of the ignorant phase in a positive way. So here's what a creative interpretation sounds like. Let's say we took a break and you went out in the hotel lobby and you got down where you knew you were away from all the GoPro people and you saw a really sharp couple and they had some kind of button on that made it obvious that they were network marketers. So maybe it's, lose weight now, ask me out, as big as their head. Oh, I'm sorry. Herbalife? Go Herbalife. Herbalife. I am so proud, actually, of that company and so inspired by what you guys have done in the last 5-6 years. It's phenomenal. Hats off to you guys, really. But so, you see a network marketing distributor. So what do you say to yourself about that prospect? Now, some of you, hopefully, will, if they're a network marketing distributor in a company, you'll support them, leave them alone. But if you know somebody's a network marketing distributor, and so you think about prospecting them, what do you say to yourself? So that's the creative interpretation part. So if you see me in the hotel lobby, what you see that is factual is there's a 56-year-old guy in a suit in the hotel lobby. That's all you know about me, right? You don't even know I'm 56, but there's this guy in a suit in the hotel lobby. That's the only thing that's factual. Now, what happens is we add to that. We make up stories about the facts, and we collapse the story with the fact, making the story factual. Creative interpretations. So if you see a really sharp couple in the hotel lobby, and you say to yourself, really sharp-looking couple, fact, and then what you add to it is, wow, I sure would love to prospect them, but they look, they're walking fast. They must be in a hurry, so it's not a good time. Do you get the creative interpretation part? So they're walking fast. Okay, that's a factual observation. That's part of the fact. But what we make up is, oh, they must be in a hurry. Now's not a good time. Oh, they're getting into the elevator. Oh, there's other people in the elevator. Oh, it would be awkward. Oh, well, I've lost them. We make all of that up, right? So if you make up things that are failure-oriented, negative, if you will, we call those red lights. So if you make up red lights, are you going to engage? No, not unless you're in some sort of, military committed accountability group and you got to show up on tomorrow's call and, tell everybody, yeah, I prospected my 5 people. You might, and that's actually a good thing. I'm all for accountability circles. But generally, if you make up red lights, you're just going to be weak and you're going to be scared and you're going to fumble it and you're not going to be powerful, and most of the times you're just going to totally avoid it. But if there's a really sharp couple over there and you're eyeballing them, and factually what you see is a really sharp couple and they're walking fast, and I walk up to you and I say, I know that couple, and they're actually in between companies. And the last company they were in, they did $1 million a month in income. And they're looking for a new home. What would you think? Okay, now it's really interesting. You don't have to raise your hand and tell the truth, but how many of you made up something about you wouldn't be qualified to talk to them? You don't need to raise your hand. How many of you made up something like you'd be on them like white on rice? Okay, that's a green light. So when we see green lights, we just engage. We just engage. And we don't just engage, we engage confidently and powerfully and with enthusiasm. We get creative. What do we say? Whatever we're prepared to say, which may be because we have great training, and it may be just because we have something to say from the heart. But we say something. Green lights, engage. Red lights, don't engage. Creativity, that's all in creative interpretations. What you make up about the facts determines whether or not you engage. So this is just a snapshot at motivation. Probably burned all my 10 minutes. So the question that I ask myself is, okay, if motivation is what I'm looking for, then how do I get motivation? That's where vision comes in. Vision is nothing more than a means to an end. This workshop, this book is not about vision because everybody should have a vision because Martin Luther King and John F. Kennedy and Stephen Jobs had a vision. It's not about that. It's about motivation. And where motivation comes from is a vision. It's a means to an end. Here's how powerful motivation can be for you. How many of you were here last year? Wow. Great. Could tell last year's jokes. I got a whole new repertoire now. Well, no, I actually shared this story, this analogy with people last year, so I'll share it with this group about how important motivation is. So let's say that we change the rules to the network marketing game. And it was no longer how you've been taught to do it and how you're paid to do it. And now your company is going to pay you like this. They're even going to give you an ironclad contract that says they're going to pay you like this. They're going to make you an employee, number one. You're going to work for the corporation. But, you get to work whenever you want, however you want. So you're totally independent still. But you're going to be an employee. You're going to have an employment contract. And your network marketing company is going to pay you $500. You got a debit card, something you get your commissions downloaded on? They're going to pop your debit card with $500 every time you invite somebody to look at your opportunity. Every time. Doesn't really matter what you say as long as it's a legitimate invitation. Hey, Bob, like to see how to make an extra $1,000 to $5,000 a month, take 15 or 20 minutes, yes or no? Cha-ching, $500. You clear about the deal? This is the way network marketing is going to work in the future. You're going to get paid $500 a head just for prospecting. Doesn't even matter if they get in. $500 a head. No limit. Well, we'll put a catch on it. You got to invite 2 people a day, 5 days a week, or you're fired. Forever fired. In fact, you're banned from the industry. You can't go from company to company to company. Are you clear about the deal? $500 a head. What we're going to do is reintroduce headhunting fees to the network marketing model. It's a federal crime now, but we're going to shift that in the future. We're going to pay you $500 a head for everybody you invite to look at your opportunity, but you have to invite 2 people a day, 5 days a week. By midnight, you have to invite 2 people, or you're done. Forever done. No excuses. Cat got sick, you lost your paperwork, you overslept, you got a flat tire, whatever. Doesn't matter. It's 10 minutes to midnight. You better be on the phone. You better get somebody to answer. 2 people a day, 5 days a week. So 2 questions for you. Raise your hand high if you could, with all clear conscience, know you could perform on that contract. Okay, what that goes to is, do you have the ability? Now my question is, would you? Would you prospect 2 people a day? So what I want you to pay attention to is your body. So when I ask you that question, pay attention to your body. Notice how your body is with you on that answer. Like, are you kidding? I'm all over that. Is that easy? Is it fun? It's fun because, you get to tell people, well, what are you so excited about? I get $500 whether you get in or not, buddy. Well, really? Yeah, $500. At least 2 a day. I get $1,000 a day, and but I can do 10 a day. It's $5,000 a day. And can anybody do that? Yeah, that's what I invite you to do. Hello? So it'd be fun, wouldn't it? There's Eric can explain this to you because there's a mathematical equation that will substantiate that $500. Actually could make it worth as much as $5,000 per prospect if you do 2 a day. But the trouble is, how come you can't make your body feel that way about the way it is now? Very simple. What I described to you was a paradigm of employment and payment that you believe in. You believe, see, I threw some key words in there, that you'd be an employee. Oh. And then I said, and you'd even have an employment contract. Oh, you mean like the big guys in the office? Yeah, like one of those. And you remember me saying ironclad? Ironclad contract. Hello? Is there any such thing as an ironclad contract? No, but to our body, see, we resonate to those things because we believe in that paradigm. We believe in the paradigm of you say, well, you're going to hire me and all I got to do is go out and talk to people and you're going to pay me $500 a head? Of course I'll do it. Well, how come you don't do it in this model? It's very simple. You don't believe in it. You don't believe in the payoff. You don't understand the payoff. You're operating blind. You're a lost ball in high weeds. If you believed in the network marketing model the way you believe in the employment model, you would be very clear that every prospect's worth $2,000 or $3,000 a piece. And you wouldn't spend any more time listening to me or anybody else. You'd be out talking to them. So I'll know when you get it as you start leaving the room. Motivation. Yeah, okay. All right, so vision. Vision leads to motivation. I won't explain to you in this session how or why. Just take my word for it. If you don't believe me, read the book. It explains it pretty clearly, the connection. But trust me, if you don't take charge, responsibility of creating and managing and learning a new vision for you about this profession on purpose, by design, then you will be left to a vision by accident. And that's really dangerous. So what Mach 2 with your hair on fire is all about is not so much the motivation, because once you have the motivation, you don't need anything else. You just go get it done. It's like $500 a head. What do you need? Do you need CDs? Do you need websites? Do you need business cards? Do you need scripts at $500 a head? What do you need? You need a mouth. That's it. You don't need anything else. How do people like Dexter Yeager and these guys build, incomes where they're making $1 million a month in network marketing? They didn't have all the stuff we have. They had a mouth. 2 ears and a mouth. They went out and talked to a lot of people. That's all you need when you're motivated. So how do you get there? You got to have a vision. What is a vision? So here's some things a vision is not. You're not writing this down, are you? I'll let you know if there's something important. So far, nothing has been that important. It's just entertaining. I like to hear myself talk. Here's some synonyms for a vision. Synonyms, meaning these things are just like a vision. A belief. So it's a belief. So you have a vision about the employment, employer, employee, employment contract, ironclad. You have a vision about that model. It's a belief and it's an expectation. It kind of simplifies down to this. If a company hires you and they give you an employment contract, you could pretty much count on being paid, can't you? We're just wired that way. Yet for at least the last 20 years, we've had nothing but an avalanche of evidence to prove that companies those things don't mean anything to companies. How about pension plans? Aren't people's pension plans part of that ironclad contract? Do you know what's happening to pension plans in companies? They just file bankruptcy and get rid of them. The number one reason why major Fortune 500 companies file bankruptcy, the number one reason is to be in a position to renegotiate those plans because they owe billions and billions of dollars, promises to pay people. And those people have set their whole lives up expecting to get that retirement fund. And the companies can't afford to do it because they don't have the money. They spent the money. It's a liability on their books. They're paying for it out of cash flow. It's called the U.S. government and Social Security. It's a Ponzi scheme. So we have a vision, we have a belief, we have an expectation about the employer-employment model. What's missing is we don't have the same clarity and the same level of belief about your vision in network marketing. So here's a key distinction. You can actually write this down. You can write this down, big letters. I already have a very powerful vision of me in, and then write the name of your network marketing company. Got that? Because you do. You actually read it to yourself all the time. If you could actually record on paper where you could actually read it on a computer screen, everything you've said to yourself about your opportunity in the last month, that would be your vision. Some of it would be good, some of it would be bad. So how do you know really what it is? Because you probably don't have it put on your refrigerator. Not the real one. What you have on your refrigerator perhaps is the one you'd like to be your vision. That's not a vision. It's not a vision until it drives your actions. What's on your refrigerator or in your book is what you want to be your vision, and that's a very powerful first step. But the distinction I want you to get here is you already have a vision. You probably don't have it written down, but you believe in it 100%, and it directs your actions. And if you want to know the essence of it relative to your network marketing opportunity, just look at what you've been in massive, unbridled, reckless enthusiasm doing. 2 to 5 a day like you were getting paid $500 a head? How many of you have been trying? That's good. How many of you have been trying really hard? That's good. That doesn't work. So, all right, now we'll, what we're going to do the rest of this workshop is we're going to workshop you into creating a new vision. Now, if you've already have one, the one I'm going to workshop you through tonight is probably different than you created, but compatible. But this will just give you a sense about how to do this work. So the vision that we're going to create tonight, you're actually going to write a document, one-page document, which will be a new vision. And this vision is going to be about not your belief so much in network marketing and not how much money you're going to make and not what kind of house you're going to live in and what kind of car. This is a vision about you. There's 3 basic areas that you can go for things in life. You can go for things to have. I want a new car, a new house, I want to make a lot of money, I want to be an intergalactic commander, star, general, triple platinum pin, one of those dudettes. So, like at national conventions, when I walk in, everybody gets on their knees and like that. The president comes, picks me up in the corporate jet whenever I want to go somewhere. You can have that pin level. Those are all things to have. You can have ambitions about things to do. So that might be, I want to travel the world, I want to buy a sailboat and, live on a deserted island or any of those kind of things. And maybe those are things like even, I want to, do Habitat for Humanity and build homes and help people and all those contribution things. The third area that we can have ambition in, which has 100 times the leverage of the other two, is who we are as leaders. In this business, in the people business, your leadership provides the greatest leverage. I don't have to explain that to you, do I? Not in our profession. I mean, if you want to attract people, what's the definition of leadership? I mean, you can read big, thick books on it. I don't like to read big, thick books, so I went for the abbreviated version. Leadership to me is if you all, on your own initiative, are not going to go over here, and I lead you to go over here, leadership. It's basically getting people to do things, go places, believe things they are not going to do on their own. Ergo, the necessary of leadership. So, are the masses out there clamoring to get involved in our profession? No. In spite of all the nifty presentations we have, no, they're not. Just ask them. Go interview 100 people. Are you involved in network marketing? No. Do you plan on getting involved? You know, like if you fill out something about buying a new car, when do you plan on this purchase? Tomorrow or a month from now, 3 months from now? You plan on getting involved in that? No. They're not predisposed to going where we're going. It's a stone cold fact, we have a better way. Eric Worre. But they don't know that. Most of them don't even know they have a problem. Ergo leadership. If you want to get people to adopt a new way of thinking, and this is a new way of thinking about money, about income, about wealth, about financial security. It's a new way of thinking about business, about product distribution. If you want to get people to adopt a new way of thinking, you have to lead them. You know, once you get them in, what do you have to do? You've got to lead to keep them in. No, over here. Hey, whoa, get back over here. There's no leaving just quite yet. No. I need all of these circles active this month. Yes. You little chicken, little you, get back over here, the back of the head, right here. Right there you are, active, that's you. Leadership. So, we're going to start with your traits. This is something you can write down. Your leadership traits. If you want to talk about what those might be, we can banter some around. But the question that I want you to write down under bad is, where are you missing in leadership traits? What are you missing? Where are you lousy? Where are you non-existent? Where are you afraid? Where are you weak? Where do you avoid? Where are you just plain dysfunctional? So, here's some leadership traits. In our business, leaders listen. In this business, leaders listen. You want to get somebody coming your way? This is not the autocratic leadership model of the last 200 years. People don't buy that anymore. And partly is they don't have to here. They don't work for you. You don't have something that they think they need. This is a heavy enticement model. These are volunteers. These are like herding cats. You can't tell anybody what to do. You got to entice them. Number one way to get somebody to see you as valuable in their life, listen them like nobody has since mommy. It's actually two people that you want to model in your listening. Mommy. How many of you are moms? So you should know exactly what that looks like and feels like. So there can be, rockets going off, planes going by, cars, bombs going off, sirens, 100 people in the house yelling and screaming. And if you got a 6-month-old crying 2 bedrooms away, what do you hear? And only the baby. And when the baby says, "Mommy, I want," or you like reading your iPad, doing all or you like present and accounted for. That's what moms are. So one role model is moms. The other role model, which works for both of us, is just remember the last time somebody fell in love with you. Maybe you didn't fall in love with them, but they fell in love with you. Remember that? And remember how they were with you. Remember the inquisition, the curiosity, the presence, the focus. What did they want to know more than anything else? About you. Nailed it. Remember that? Last time you were in love with somebody, what did you want to know about them more than anything else? I mean, what was totally present for you? Who are they? What's important to them? What have they done with their life? What do they want to do with their life? What do they like? What do they dislike? What's their favorite color? What's their favorite food? How late do they sleep in the morning? What time do they go to bed at night? What do they like to watch on TV? Everything, right? And when you were in love with somebody and they said, "Well, I like to sleep until about 8 o'clock on Saturdays." Did you respond when you were in love with them, like falling in love? Did you respond, 8 o'clock? Well, that's stupid. Why don't you get up at 6 and watch the sunrise? I like to get up at 6 and watch the sunrise. Have you ever done that? Now, even if you felt like saying that, what did you say? "Oh, 8 o'clock. That's lovely." Yeah? Listen, I could go all day on listening. Conviction, action, learning. Leaders are always learning. Contribution. Leaders are servants. Leaders have courage. Leaders, even though they're servants, they are with you or without you. Leaders are strong in where they're going. They have a very clear vision. They're going whether you go or not. Leaders in our business don't lead by consensus. You know what? We're going to join this company and build a big empire. I'm going to do that, but only if you are going with me. That doesn't inspire anybody. What inspires is, I'm doing this, whether you do it or not. And here's how it serves you. Most important thing of leadership trait is leaders have a crystal clear vision. A crystal clear vision that serves people, that inspires people, that draws people in. You can take a clean sheet of paper. So now the question on the table is, what are your values? When you read the book, you'll see a distinction in the book between imposed and core values. That's about a whole day conversation. So if you're familiar with that, support me in getting through this in the next 25 minutes, and let's just leave that distinction alone. Imposed or core. And all I want to know for purposes of this is, what are, let's say, your top 4 or 5 values? And here's what I mean by values. What are the most important things to you in life? Without these things present, you don't live. Without these things present, if these things were like taken away from you and you couldn't get them back, you'd be suicidal. Without these things being expressed every day in your life, you're not you. You would be just a blank slate. You would be a deep, dark abyss, a hole. There'd be nothing there. This is your heart and soul. Who are you? What do you hold as valuable? It's one of the ways we define ourselves. There is no right or wrong in this, and this is just 20 things I threw on a piece of paper. There could be another 100 ways, 1,000 ways that you might describe what's valuable to you. So I'll give you an example of some for me. Fun for me. Without fun, I'm not interested in any of it. I mean, I'll do something for a little while that's not fun if there's fun on the other side. But it's got to be fun or I'm just not interested. It's just part of who I am. I'm fun. Now, that's how I define fun. If you define fun like knitting, I'm not having fun with you. So I have a definition of fun, but fun's really important to me. Like almost everything that I designed in my network marketing career about why I wanted to be so successful was about fun. And next, these aren't necessarily in order, but friendship. So I tied the two together. Most of my visions were about when I make enough money, I'm going to have so much fun with my friends. It's just going to be over the top. It's going to be extraordinary. We're going to be like rock stars. Of course, I didn't pencil in that I was going to have to pay for all of them because they weren't necessarily on the same ride I was. But you know what? I did. I'll give you a manifestation of this. Last year was the 19th annual Buds Bash. 19 years in a row. The lowest attendance was 6. The highest was 18. High school buddies. My best friends are still my high school buddies. Now, I have other really, really good friends, but my vision from day one was, hey, I'm going to make it big in this and we're going to have fun. And some of them actually did it, but, 35 years later, they come to my house. 19 years in a row for 9 days. For 9 days, whether there were 6 of them or 18 of them, they all stayed in my home. Whether it was sleeping on couches, tents in the backyard, motor homes sometimes, houseboats we'd rent, flopping everywhere. In 19 years, some of them were married to one girl, and then 7 years later, one of the other ones would bring her back, married to her. It was kind of like that, Crazy. 19 years in a row, Buds Bash, 9 days, all expenses paid. All we do is eat, drink, boat, golf, gamble, co-ed, guys and gals, fun. Now that would have never happened without another one of my core values, leadership. So I had the vision, and I said, we're doing this. Well, I can't. You're doing this. This is a part of who I am, my vision. 19 years in a row. Okay, you got gift? Anybody stuck on gift? Like you're stuck and you're upset about it and it's frustrating. Yes. What is your name? Jackie. Jenny.
Okay, I'm not sure. I would say I'm a caregiver, but also I'm like, okay, if something happens, I'm the first one that wants to, organize and let's do this, let's do that. So I'm not sure which one it is.
Okay.
I would think like a leader takes care. It's kind of like the same thing or not?
Well, kind of. So there's 10 of us. We're shipwrecked. We're all crawling up on the beach. And so it's obvious that some of us are hurt.
Right.
But somebody else, is rushing to their aid. So do you naturally go in anyway because who you are knows you can help somebody physically? Or because they're taken care of, do you think more about what are we going to do as a group and how are we going to get it done?
Yeah, that would be if I see that somebody else is already taking care of that part. Then.
Okay, so now you think about leading, but what if I'm leading? Are you still thinking about leading?
No, then I guess I'd take care of whatever needs to be taken care of.
What if I'm doing a bad job of leading?
Then I'll tell you.
Okay, if you could only pick one, caregiver or leadership, if you could only have one role in the group.
Well, see, the confusing part is I can see me as a leader in this situation, but in the other part of my life, I'm not a leader at all.
It is domain specific based on confidence, but that's why we use the shipwreck on the desert island.
Seems like they could almost go hand in hand, though.
They can, but it'll help if she comes up with one. To the degree you have two and stay in any sort of state of confusion, then you can always say, well, I'm not sure what my gift is. I want you to be sure what your gift is.
Okay, I would say it'll be a leader then.
Good. Leadership.
Okay.
All right. So if you don't have that nailed, just work on it. Ask a loved one. Come up with number one gift. Doesn't mean you can't have others to add to it. Doesn't mean you can't have an epiphany an hour from now or a week from now and go, oh my gosh, my gift is actually joy. I would be the one singing Kumbaya. Last piece of the puzzle. What is the theme of your life? I use this phrase instead of life purpose because I found that the phrase life purpose scares people. They automatically assume they need to cure cancer or save every homeless person in the world or, annihilate war for the future of all mankind. And the truth is, for most of us, that's not our life purpose. It's not going to be. And the only reason we would even think about it is because we felt pressured to be as cool as the person who stood up and said, my life purpose is to end all war in all societies and civilizations worldwide. And you're the next person who has to stand up. My life purpose is to raise 3 nice kids. And the truth is, that probably is your life purpose. And that's what you should stick with because that's the truth. And in this process, this isn't about who's the biggest and who's the best and who's the coolest and who has the biggest vision. It's about truth. What's the truth? What's your truth? One of my mentors told me, from a human standpoint, not to interfere with your spiritual beliefs, but from a human personal development standpoint, he said, all personal power comes from self-honesty. Now that might have been his way of saying, to thine own self be true. But I have found that to be one of the most profound lessons in my whole life. And if I would have an end game vision in my life, the theme of my life, authenticity. Staying true to me. Even when it violated other people's values and other people's perceptions and expectations and needs of me. You'll get your greatest personal power from figuring out who the heck you are and owning that. And that doesn't mean it doesn't evolve and change. It does. I'm not remotely the same person I was 35 years ago. Not even remotely. I mean, you wouldn't even recognize me. Not just because of age. I mean, you wouldn't, not even remotely the same person.
What if that runs on?
Pardon?
What if it just runs on?
What do you mean if it runs on?
Be a good father, be a good husband, be a good son.
That's okay. There's no right or wrong in this. Notice the paradigm we come from. What is the right answer? You know, there's a question, there's an answer. In this work, you are the right answer. So whatever resonates with you, whatever goes clunk with you, that's the right answer. And we are like peeling an onion. So in your self-discovery process, what you're actually dealing with is an onion with lots and lots of layers. If you're 50 years old, you have 50,000 layers of skin that's been grown to protect the real you. So the process is getting to know, well, who is this outer skin right now? What's the truth about who I am right now? And as you get to that truth, those layers actually peel away. And now there's even more in there. The process of transformational development, lifelong work in becoming more of you is very much just getting back to who you were at 3 or 4 or 5 years old, where you weren't afraid of anything. Everybody was your friend. Everything was possible. You loved everyone. Everything was fun. Not so anymore, is it? We got lots and lots of layers on us. So just work with the truth. Okay, so we have some components here to create a vision. We have affirmations about your leadership characteristics. We have 4 or 5 core values, the things that are most important to you in life. We have a gift, and we have a theme of your life. So my question about the theme of your life is, what is the song? If you could write a song that just had a 2 or 3 line chorus that was your song for your life, if you could carve out a life that nobody else get to have an opinion about, that your parents couldn't judge you about, your spouse couldn't judge you about, your kids couldn't judge you about, your upline couldn't judge you, your downline couldn't judge you, your sideline couldn't judge you, your friends couldn't judge you, what would you spend your life doing? Now notice how, for some of you, if the thought of, well, I would just spend the rest of my life being totally irresponsible. Okay. Well, who said you have to be responsible your whole life? I don't think you did at the age of 5, playing in the sandbox, saying, you know what I'm going to start doing with my life is I've had enough of these trucks and these dolls and stuff. You know what? I'm going for responsibility. From this point on out, I'm about responsibility as a 5-year-old. That doesn't come from us. Who's that come from? People who ended up with a lot of responsibility and were kind of ticked off that the 5-year-olds didn't have any. You're going to start taking some of this on. When you get 15, you're taking a bunch of this. You get 18, you're getting a whole load and getting out of here. Responsibility may not be you, may not be what's important to you. And that doesn't mean you're going to, walk off, leave your family, quit your job, and hitchhike the rest of your life. There's consequences to everything you do. But you'll get in touch with a lot of personal power if you've been living a very responsible life and you're looking forward to a very responsible next 30 or 40 years. And responsibility is like kryptonite to you. It just eats you alive. Like where you need to get your personal powers, get free of some of it. Get some partnership, shift some things around, lighten your load so you can have more fun. That's where power comes from. So your assignment, which you don't have time to do now, because I talk too much.
So what would your song sound like? Your song.
Yeah, well, I have a bad memory, so I can't give you like a rock song or a Bob Dylan song or something. But the theme of my life is inspiring people to play full out. Inspiring people to play full out. That's what I'm up to. And I do it in different forms at different times in my life. And the word play is in there purposely because I'm not interested in inspiring people to make as much money as they can or work as hard as they can or build as big a business as they can. I am an inspiration to people becoming authentic and as a result powerful. And what I have come to know in working with people is whether you can put it on a list or not, love and play and contribution are spirituality, and however you may phrase that, are 4 values that we would love to not be without. And so play is an important part of that. So here's your assignment. You can do this tonight, or it'd be really cool if you did it tonight so that you don't let it get away from you. It'll only take you like 15 or 20 minutes. You write a document. Now, it might help if you had the references from the book to write this document, but if you just listen to me for a second, you don't... It is. You can download a PDF off the website of the book. Yep. Any day now on Kindle, but you can download a PDF.
It's on Kindle.
Yeah, but it's not formatted right. But yeah, it is. It's screwy, though, I heard. Okay, so here's the assignment. You write a 1-page document. This is a story, so think story. There are some things you can write down about how to write this story. This story must be first person, present tense. Take my word for it, if you don't write it in first person, present tense, you sabotage the heck out of it. The book will explain to you why that's important. First person, present tense, meaning I am experiencing this now. I am this person now. I'm accomplishing these things now. I'm manifesting these things now. This is a hard habit to get into because we were trained our whole lives to goal set. Goal setting is totally different than this work. Totally different. And to the degree you goal set, you undermine this work. I'm not against goal setting. This is just different work. Don't do this work the way you do goal setting. This is not about timelines. This is not about by the end of 2012 you're going to have something done. You write this document as though it's already done. Right now, in this moment, you're experiencing it. Write it like a movie. So a picture is worth what? 1,000 words. What you're looking to accomplish here is clarity. You're looking to write a story that you could read and you could watch it like a movie. So that's why pictures incorporated with your vision are really powerful, because they're worth 1,000 words of clarity. And clarity is really, really important to nail this vision. You're going to write a story as though you are this leader that you've described in your affirmations now. You're going to write a story that has you manifesting your top 4 core values. So if love is one of your top 4 core values, in this vision, you need some scenes in this movie of you expressing your love. So how do you love to express your love? Write it into the movie. If fun is important to you, what is fun for you? Write you doing that in the movie. If contribution is important to you, what kind of contribution? Write it into the movie. If adventure is important to you, what kind of adventure? Write it in the movie. You with me? Yes. Your gift. Nail the gift in the movie. So you have a gift. The whole movie should be themed around you contributing that gift to other people and themed around the theme of your life. All as though it's already happening right now. Not happened in the past, not happening 6 months from now, happening to you right now. Got it? Now, here's how this works. We've been taught that the way we learn to believe in something is either through factual evidence or through us actually experiencing it. Or maybe authority figures. Somebody who we trust their opinion has told us this is the way things are. The earth is flat. No, it's round. A couple hundred years from now, somebody's going to prove to us it's oval. 500 years from now, somebody's going to absolutely, unequivocally prove it's a hologram. Which is why you can actually drill into it. It's not really there. Authority figures tell us this is the way it is. We go, oh, okay, they should know. I believe. We have evidence. I believe evidence. Empirical evidence. I believe it. There is another way we can learn to believe. And it's through our emotional and unconscious intelligence, through osmosis, through affirmation, through an environmental process, through spaced repetition. So you take that movie and you read it and you watch the movie and you allow yourself to feel how that movie would make you feel if it was actually happening. Just invite yourself to feel that way. That doesn't mean you're going to be jumping for joy or crying or hugging people. Just invite yourself to feel how you will feel when that movie actually takes place. Just watch the movie. I know it's corny. I know it's not real. I know you haven't done it yet. I know nobody maybe in your whole company's done it. Whatever. None of that matters. Here's why it works. You go to a real movie, like you go out of here this weekend, you go watch some great movie, and it's, let's say it's a horror story. And you know that scene where, you know, the girl walks into the bedroom and it's dark and the guy's behind the door and he's got a knife? What do we do in that movie? What do we say to the girl? Look out! What's the matter with her? Right? We're like hysterical. Or you're in like a love story, and it's just it's a great love story, and you know, then one of them dies, and sadness, and a kid dies, and we're crying, bawling in the movie, right? Did any of this happen? It did not happen. Does that affect how it affects us? Does not affect how it affects us. You just go ahead and try to go to a really good movie that's moving, and even though you know it's all contrived, it's all acted, it's all paid, you really try not to be moved. You can't. The reason is the cerebral cortex, it's the one that knows what's real and what's not real. It's the one that we teach all the answers to all the tests, all the answers to all the quizzes, gets us good grades, teaches us how to drive, how to cook, how to get a job, how to do our job. The cerebral cortex keeps us from walking out in front of the street or in front of a bus or putting a hand on a hot stove. And what is the cerebral cortex worth a year? 50, 100 grand. That's about it. Maybe 150 in some great job. Maybe 250. What's the rest of us worth? What's the part of us worth that can move people? What's the part of us worth that can adopt a new idea and lead people to adopt a new idea? Billions. I mean, literally billions. Bill Gates is, you know, well, he's worth like, I don't know, 50, 60 billion dollars. That's here, and over here is 150 grand a year. And what's in between is this part of us. And this part of us is moved because this part of us, don't write this down because I want you to stay with me, but write it down later. This part of us cannot tell the difference between a real experience and one vividly imagined. The emotional part of us, the spiritual part of us, the unconscious part of us, the part of us that moves mountains cannot tell the difference. That's why in a phony movie, we cry. In a phony movie, we're scared. In a phony movie, we yell out. In a phony movie, we grab people. Because it can't tell the difference. So when you visualize your movie over and over and over and over and over again, to the part of you that's powerful, it's just like it happened. Is anybody drinking coffee? No? Is it 8:38? You guys are supposed to be out of here. I swear to God, I told him. Eric, I told him. Whose is this? Yours? Is this some kind of jungle juice? Is there a pitcher of water anywhere? Oh, sorry. It's an energy drink. So I want you to imagine this is your current belief about whatever it is you're pursuing. Looks like this. This is what's embodied in you. And this is your new vision. This is how it changes. So 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days of reading your vision. How many of you have ever done this before? Like the whole vision thing? Goal setting, anything like that? And then what happens after 3 or 4 or 5, 6 days, 7 days? You go, well, this isn't working. We talk ourselves out of it. Why? Because we look at it and nothing's different. But 7 days, 8 days, 9 days, 10 days, 11 days, 12 days. I'm going to need more water. 13 days. Who's got more water? Is there any full bottles? Oh, this is perfect. This is exactly what I need. Thank you. 14 days, 15 days, 16 days, 17 days, 18 days, 19 days, 21 days, 30 days, 40 days, a couple of months. It's the new you. That's how it happens.